What's happening, everyone? Steve here, Cars with Steve, and today I'm going to show you how to set up Android Auto and Apple CarPlay inside of the 2021 Lincoln Nautilus. It's a very straightforward process, literally only takes a couple minutes between each one, and one of the beauties, we are now wireless inside of this thing, so it's an incredible process, very simple to set up. Let's dive into it and see how that works. When it comes into adding a phone, it's a very straightforward process. Now, one of the nice things about the 2021 Nautilus is that we are now wireless for not only connecting your phone, which is actually the same in the 2020, but we do now have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is incredible. So adding a phone in, it's a very straightforward process. So on your phone, all you're gonna wanna do is make sure that you've got your Bluetooth turned on. So we're gonna go Bluetooth. We're just gonna make sure we toggle it on. Once your Bluetooth is on, we're just going to hit Add Phone, and watch this.
Search for your vehicle on your device and select it once it is found.
Okay, so on your phone, you're just going to wait until Lincoln Nautilus pops up, and we're just going to hit Other, so we're going to connect.
The pin displayed on sync matches the pin displayed on your device.
Okay, so we just need to make sure that the pin numbers match up, and they do, so we're going to hit Pair and Yes. All right, next up, it's asking me, do I want to allow my contacts and favorites to sync? I do want to do that, so I'm just going to hit Allow, and watch.
For your safety, please stay alert to changing road conditions and use Sync's voice-activated features while your vehicle is in motion.
All right, so as you can see there, I am now connected. 911 Assist, I always recommend turning that one on. And the big reason why is because if you're ever in an accident when you're inside the vehicle and it recognizes there's an accident, it's automatically going to dial 911 for you to talk to the operator. So definitely a useful system. And we're just going to hit finish there and we're connected. So it really is that simple. We've got my recent calls, contacts, my keypad, phone list, messaging. We can use Siri as our assistant as well. Now, one thing, remember I said when I was connected, I now have the ability to change out my source. So I can. I've got my phone there, so we can connect to my phone, whatever audio I've got going on there. And I've got a radio app on my phone called LiveX Live. So that's going to work directly through this middle screen, which is incredible. All right, let's jump back into phone for a second there, because as you can see, I'm fully connected. Now I've also got the option to add in Apple CarPlay. So very straightforward as well. It's asking me, do I want to use CarPlay with Sync 4? So I want to hit Use CarPlay. Okay, my device supports Apple CarPlay, so I just need to make sure I enable that. Connecting to CarPlay should take a second. 3, 2, and go! Beautiful. All right, so as you can see, I am now fully connected. We've got my phone, we've got my messages and things like that. Now, one of the nice things about the Nautilus is that it does have factory navigation, but if you prefer to use other types of navigation, like maybe you prefer Apple Maps, Google Maps, or Waze, we've got the capability to use those things directly through this middle screen. So we click on Waze there and look at that. Look at how beautiful that looks. Like, I love the fact that we've got the ability to do this inside of the Nautilus. If we've got multiple phones connected, it would show up along the top there. We can press that button in order to hop back into our Apple CarPlay home screen. And one of the nice things about this is that we've also got the ability to kind of adjust things a little bit. I'll show you what I mean. If we go into our phone general settings, we go into CarPlay. We've got the vehicle that we just connected to, and we can now customize the tray. So if you have a tendency, maybe you prefer to use the Waze app instead, we can just grab it, we can drag it to the top, and look at that. It's updating. I listen to podcasts a little bit, so let's go up and drag our podcasts up as well. So you can kind of adjust this as necessary, and maybe you're never going to use audiobooks. We've got the capability to remove that. Now, if you ever remove something you want to add back in, more apps will show up along the bottom. If you don't like the layout, all you're going to do is hit Reset, Reset Screen Layout, and that's just going to bring you back to that default screen instead. Moving back in, as you can see, it's reset it for me, which is really straightforward, and it's a really great look to it. Now, one of the nice things about the new tech inside of the Nautilus is that we've got the ability to either run off of whatever map application that we'd like to on our phone, but we can still hot button press in order to get into that Sync 4, so the factory navigation instead. So rather than running off of your phone's data plan, you'd be running off of the vehicle's GPS instead. So really neat. We're going to get down to navigation in just a second, but if you want to disable Apple CarPlay, it's a very straightforward process. All we're going to do is we can either go to settings or we can just go to phone list along the top. So we press phone list and it's got my phone there. So now I can jump into my phone. And we've got a couple options. So if I'd like to, I can disable CarPlay if I want. I can connect Bluetooth and phone media instead. So it's going to connect back to my phone just on Bluetooth, so I can still make phone calls and things like that without using Apple CarPlay. So that's really nice. Now, jumping back in, I do have the ability to either disconnect my phone or I can completely remove it. So I press the delete button there. Do I want to remove my phone? Yes or no? And that's the basics of setting an iPhone up on this Sync 4 screen. Right now, setting up an Android device is literally the exact same process, so very straightforward. Because I still have my iPhone connected, what's going to happen is we can now go into the phone list there and we can click on Add Phone.
Search for your vehicle on your device and select it once it is found.
So on your Android device, all you're going to do is make sure that you've got your Bluetooth turned on, and you're going to wait for Lincoln Nautilus to show up under available devices. It's shown up there, and we're just going to wait for a second.
Confirm that the pin displayed on sync matches the pin displayed on your device.
Okay, just making sure that the pins match up, which in this case they do. So we're going to hit OK and yes.
For your safety, please stay alert to changing road conditions and use Sync's voice-activated features while your vehicle is in motion.
Okay, so as you can see there, we are connected. Now, a couple things, it's popped up another message on my screen. So do I want to allow access to my contacts? Yes, let's allow that, as well as to my messages. But as you can see there, device supports Android Auto. So really straightforward. In order to set it up, all we're going to do is hit enable. Okay, now on my phone, it's saying Android Auto would like to turn on Bluetooth, etc. So we're just going to follow the directions on the phone. And we are connected. Look at this. Look at this. Look at how amazing this thing looks. Big, beautiful, bright screen. Now, as you saw there, we've got the ability to use Google Maps. We can use Waze and things like that directly through this middle screen as well, which is incredible. Love the fact we've got the capabilities to do it. Very similar to the Apple side, on Android, we've got the ability to use our Google Assistant. We've got our notification center and a number of other things. So it's ultimately going to depend on what apps you've got installed on the vehicle. And on your phone, I should say. Now, one thing to note is that if your app is not showing up, it may not be supported by Android Auto. The other side of things is that you may not have your operating system up to date, or you may not have the most recent version of your app. So if your app's not showing up on the screen there, just update your operating system. Make sure you've got the most recent version of your app installed as well. Now, one of the nice things about the Android side of things is that we do have the ability to look at different things for Android Auto. So if we jump into our Android Auto settings, look at this. We can see what car we're currently connected to. We can look for connection help. We can also customize our launcher. So very similar to what we saw on the Apple side of things. So if you have a preference on which one you'd like to use, we can adjust as we'd like to. So we're just going to drag and hold. Now, one thing to note, when we update on this screen, it's not going to automatically update on the Android Auto screen. So we do need to reset Android Auto and relaunch it in order for it to update the look that we'd like. So that's definitely one area where Apple kind of jumps ahead of Android from that perspective. But we're now connected. As you can see there, we've got our Google detection, so we've got the ability to use voice commands, we can resume media, use our Google Assistant, and a number of other things. Wireless Android Auto, so incredible. I love the fact we're now wireless, I should say, for Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Now, very similar to what we just finished seeing on the Apple side of things, in order to remove a phone, we can either jump into our settings or we can press the phone list along the top, and we've got all of the connected devices. When we click in, because we've got multiple devices connected, we've got some different connection options or some phone settings. So we can jump into our phone settings. We can now save it as a favorite if we've got multiple phones connected. So your choice there, and you've got the ability to do a few things. Moving back, we can either disable Android Auto, or we can just completely scrap the phone if we want to and disconnect it. So as you can see there, that phone is now disconnected, and if I want to, I can just connect back to the iPhone again. So as you can see, it's really that simple. What did I tell you? It's such a simple process, right? But if you ran into any problems, drop down in the comment section below, let me know, and I'm more than willing and welcome to talk you through any issues you might be having. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, think about subscribing, and until I see you next time, make sure you stay safe.